Hey guys, Aaron here from More 4x4. I'm so proud to showcase this adventure tourer build that we've done for Greg and his family, and that's what this whole video is about. So stay tuned till the end because there's so much detail and I really want to go deep with you guys today. We want to start at the front end here today so we can show you the things we've done and why we have done them. So first up, we have here an off-road animal Cobra bar. This is a no loop bar. There's a few reasons for why we've done that. First of all is weight, to keep the front axle load as low as we can without compromising functionality, protection, and it still enables us to mount all the equipment that we need to mount for the way Greg wants to use the vehicle. So we have color-coded this off-road animal bar, and it's Hermosa Blue. It is the rarest color that we see in Y62 Patrol. We have installed, hidden in there is a 13,000 pound Runva XP winch. Synthetic rope as standard, wireless control as standard, and if you notice, we have actually concealed the control box. So we've kept it as clean as we can up the front here. So that's really, really important because in this relationship, my job is performance, to make sure the car's going to do exactly what we say it's going to do, and your job is aesthetics. You need to tell us how you want it to look. That is so important, and we really pay a lot of attention to that. So in the front here, this is what we call our stealth light bar. So hidden out of the way, kind of looks a bit weird without it, just like a void. You can get a cover plate, but the functionality's there. It's a low investment for significant outcome, especially if you don't want to run your driving lights all the time. So that's important. So we have coupled the steady light bar, stealth light bar, with steady Type X Pros. Those lights are geared to long range lighting. They've still got really significant peripheral lighting, but they are, you get a kilometre down the road. So if you're doing a lot of flat country touring, there may be some value in that for you. So there's a couple of other things I wanted to run through. I want to be honest with you, I forgot to bring the UHF antenna. What a goofball, right? But that antenna there is actually a mobile phone booster. And I'll show you, it's called a Selfie unit, and that's in the back of the vehicle. And I'll show you when we get into the electrical and what that looks like. Standard with this bar is towing points. This bar though is sensor compatible, so parking sensor compatible, and it's also radar compatible. Being a TIL, we do need to relocate it, but it's still in there. So we're not messing around with any of the functionality and safety features that ultimately has to keep you guys safe when you're operating this awesome vehicle or your awesome vehicle in the country. The bar comes with the first underguard. So that's part of it. We chose not to color code that because there's already lots of Hermosa Blue, bit of a detail, a little bit different. We can color code that for you. We can do it black, we can do it Hermosa Blue, we could do it more 4x4 orange if you like. Part of this build, a very, very important part of this build for Greg and his family is capacities, weights, and gross vehicle mass. Now, even though Greg isn't necessarily going to be towing a big ass van around the country, that it's still important that we manage axle loads and payload for Greg. So what we've done for Greg in this build is to include a 4.2 tonne pre-rego GVM upgrade. And that requires a few separate components. There's a couple of compliance issues that we need to handle as part of this process. Part of the compliance issues require load-rated wheels to match the axle load. In this case, we have gone for King wheels, and this particular model is called a King Hurricane. Now that's an 18x9 wheel with a 25 offset. We did raise the question to Greg Are you going to be doing more road touring or off-road touring? And his idea of fun happens to be adventure touring and getting out and about into remote locations. So rather than opting for an all-terrain tyre, we have chosen a Maxxis Razor Mud Terrain, and that's a 275/70/18, and it's the most appropriate mud terrain tyre for this application before we step up to a 35-inch tyre. So in order to stay legal, what we have to do is include fender flares in this package. These aftermarket wheels and tyres have a greater offset. The tyre's 10 mil wider, and we need to fit flares to the vehicle to keep it all legit. I promise this video is not all about compliance, but let me nerd out for just a second longer. What we have to do is we have to include category 6 indicators. We can do that in one of two ways. We can put it on the fender just underneath the V8 badge, or we can put it into the mirror. So I would say that at least 9 out of 10 of my clients prefer the mirror, because most of my clients are towing something or other. So it makes sense that you can extend these mirrors to get much better visibility out past the van. A friend of mine up north, Brooke, I'm talking about you, manufactures these rock sliders for us. And what seems to have started as a cottage type industry has grown into a bit of a bigger beast, because now we're buying rock sliders directly from Brooke. These things are awesome. They're capable of protecting your vehicle. They provide a step. They look friggin' awesome, and we love them. And now we need to talk about the roof rack system. And there's a couple of different things that we need to factor when we're talking about storage systems, because that's what that is. We need to understand what permanent things you want to mount up there and what you want to carry periodically. And in this case, we have a bit of both. We needed to mount recovery tracks, we needed to mount an awning, and we needed to mount a solar panel for Greg and his family. So for this reason, we have chosen the Tracklander roof rack. Now, it's a mesh platform. It is super low profile, and I'm sure Pancho is going to give you some B-roll footage of that. It is lightweight, and in my opinion, by virtue of it being a mesh rack, it means you've got 8,000 million tight amp points whenever you need one, which means you don't have to carry a tool to undo a proprietary eyelet to mount the stuff or carry the stuff that you want to carry when you want to carry it. So one of the challenges when we're building Y62 Patrols, because of the nature of the tailgate, it means that fitting a 270-degree awning we haven't found an amazing option for that yet. So what we've chosen in this case is a brand called the Clevershade. And I want to be honest, this is the first time we've deployed this, but I actually really like it. It's a bit quaint, unusual, because what you're used to seeing is a massive thing sitting on the side of the car that's this big and that fat. And this is a little bit different. It's kind of streamlined shaped, and I love it because it's also Australian made. Small business in Australia manufacturing, and I think that's so important. And to be honest with you, I've noticed a change. This is a 180-degree awning, so it gives you the functionality of having some shelter off the side of the vehicle. But because the Patrol has the tailgate, it's kind of like an awning built into the vehicle. So it may not be as important to have a 270-degree awning. And the compromise would be, if you still want that awning, is that you have to mount it much higher so that when the tailgate opens and the awning swings around, that it's not going to clash and do damage to your vehicle and or the awning. As part of any amazing adventure tourer build that we do, we have dialogue about fuel capacity and fuel range. And given that Nissan Patrol, with that awesome V8 engine, could be consuming 25 or 30 or even up to 40 litres per 100 in really, really heavy terrain when you got a headwind and it's hot, you should expect that she's going to chew the juice. And I know you guys didn't buy it for fuel consumption, and fuel economy. So in Greg's build, we chose to put a long range fuel tank. Now that's a 140 litre tank that sits up underneath the vehicle, and Pancho is going to show you some B-roll about how it sits up there and how it doesn't hang down and complements the departure angle. But one of the key things is that when we go for a long range fuel tank, because you need it because you want to do some remote touring, that we have to relocate the spare tyre. So what we've actually done is we've put it on the rear of this vehicle on a Kmart tyre carrier. And as you can see, that's effortless, right? Comes with struts, it locks out, it's beautiful, right? And let me tell you, if I wasn't such a goofball and I wasn't rushing to go to this shoot, I would have remembered to put the water tanks in the jerry can holder. So that's all on me. But you get the picture, right? You can put two 20 litre water tanks on the side of the car. Normally when we do that, it'd be gravity fed. So you can just open the tap on the side of the thing, wash your hands, wash your face, wash your feet, whatever, okay? So whether it's a weekend warrior or an adventure tour type build, storage is really, really important in the scheme of things. So this is, as I mentioned before, this is our adventure tourer build. It's a step up from our weekend warrior, but it's not quite full-time tourer, and I'm going to show you why. So what we've done in the back of this vehicle is we have given Greg a single drawer system, and that's designed to carry recovery gear and his cooking equipment and whatever else he needs to carry. We have also installed a Dometic CFX fridge. It's actually a CFX 355, and I did some content around this the other day around access heights. So check out our YouTube channel playlist for storage solutions for more info. So what's really important in any build that we do is the electrical and how much power you've got, visibility. It doesn't need to be super complicated. And what we've done in this is an Intervolt DC-DC charger. So super simple display here, tells you what you're using. You don't really need much more than that because it's on that screen. We've got here the air compressor switch right there, so you don't have to go faffing around for it. Everything's controlled from the back of the vehicle. We have USB outlets here, charging outlets, phones, cameras, Anderson plug input to supplement the solar that's on the roof. So if you need to beef up your solar input, your power input into the battery, this is a great option for you. We're now moving into the business end of this adventure tourer build, and not quite full-time tourer, but more than weekend warrior. It'll still do both, but this is where all our electrical equipment is mounted. So starting from the left-hand side, we have an ARB twin head compressor. It's, in my opinion, the best compressor for this application for size and output, and it's awesome. It just works. We don't see problems with them, and I think that's really important for you when you're out in the bush. If you do have a problem though, they are fully rebuildable. Just above the air compressor is a Selfie mobile phone booster. So this creates like a zone around the vehicle that boosts your signal. So look, it's not going to give you some signal when there's no signal, but it will amplify minute amounts of signal into potentially something usable. So next to these devices we have here is a 375 watt Victron inverter. So the outlet's on the top here, so easy access. You can get to it from the back of the vehicle or the either side of the vehicle, which is awesome. We have here all of our distribution system and six-way distribution panel. It's all labeled, so if you have a problem with a particular component, this is the first place that you can go. Some fuses, inverters, and smart battery disconnect, so that if you do happen to discharge this 110 amp hour slimline lithium battery, that you can, if you over discharge, you can keep an eye on it. So this will actually cut systems out so you don't end up with a totally dead system. And we also here we have an Intervolt DC lithium compatible charger. So that manages inflow and outflow inflow from solar, inflow from the vehicle's alternator, and it just works. So what we've also done too, because this is fairly low tech, right? So fairly low investment, but it just works. We've also coupled it with a Bluetooth module, so you can get the app on your phone and then you can see exactly what it's doing. So as part of any adventure touring build that we do, where you're going to get out in the elements and get muddy and dusty and filthy, do you want to be getting back into the vehicle with your beautiful seats, or do you think you want to get some protection? For Greg, it was really important that we had a couple of things: seat protection and comfort. So we've opted for black duck seat covers. It's important because all of the functionality is retained. And in the TIL, it's things like electric seats. It's things like headrest covers. Because in the back of the TIL, you've got the screen, or I call it a kid pacifier. So if you don't want your kids making a mess of your brand new TIL, it might be worthwhile thinking about. So as you can see here, we have the UHF mic. The antenna's on the front of the vehicle. And what we've done is we've put what's called a pass-through connector into the vehicle. So there's no more, UHF head unit on the side of the tunnel or underneath the column there. So we've concealed the unit and we've put a simple plug in the dash, which means you can plug your mic in, use it for what you need it for, and then really simply take it out and put it away into the console. That was really noisy. And it's out of sight, out of mind. The other thing that we actually don't do is we don't mount the holster for the mic. I've got some pain around that, to be honest with you, because this is a brand new TIL, 103 grand or whatever it was, and we're not super comfortable with drilling holes into your dash to mount the mic. So what most of my clients do is they just leave it in the cup holder when they're using it. So the other thing that we've done in this vehicle that you wouldn't know about unless you watched our other YouTube video is that this vehicle has a front diff lock in it. Check out our YouTube channel for the front locker and diff drop video. That's really good. That's my beady brother Ben at work. We just want to give you guys value. So if there's something that you want to know about, whether it's your particular vehicle or an upcoming build or some grand plan that you've got, reach out, guys, drop a comment below, because we just want to give you guys value. We don't want anything in return except a comment and your thoughts. Over the coming weeks, we're releasing all of our Y62 packages, starting from the adventure towing through weekend warrior, an adventure tourer like this, and our full-time tourer. So stay tuned to our YouTube channel, because that's where we're releasing everything. Thanks for watching. I'm so grateful. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon button so you can be notified when we produce another video. Thanks for subscribing. See you later.